Hey everyone. So today we're going to be talking a bit about Planet Zoo and my experiences with the beta as well as its role in the future of my channel. As some of you may notice, I've not been very active recently, but I'd love to get back into YouTube with the release of Planet Zoo November 5th. I didn't take any footage during the beta, but I did take screenshots of some of my work in progress builds and my finished exhibits. I only got around to making 3, again, just time constraints, but it was such an enjoyable experience. I would love to share what I made with you guys. So first up, we're going to be looking at this unfinished giraffe house. This was the last thing I made during the beta. The idea was that there was going to be a big sort of guest building on the left that guests could walk through. And then there'd be like an elevated path out in the little concave bit, and guests could be eye level with the giraffes. And on the other side, the right side of the exhibit, there would be a habitat, a shelter for the giraffes, with one-way glass for the guests to view, and I got pretty far on that part, but my goals for this were just too detailed for I think I started this with only 2 days left in the beta, and I had real-life responsibilities I needed to take care of. But as we can see, I got most of the interior done. I didn't get to coloring everything. I got a little archway done, and there is actually a keeper hut built into the back of the small habitat, the small enclosure. So we're going to move on to the very first exhibit I made. This was originally for the buffalo, and this was the very first viewing enclosure. The glass is starting to crack here. At the very end of the game, I put tigers in there because I moved the buffalo somewhere else, and I didn't get to have the tigers very long. I only had them for a couple hours, and I didn't take very many screenshots of this. I think I have a couple. I'll throw them up now if I do, where there are actually buffalo in there. So this one was just me sort of experimenting and getting used to the building mechanics, and I had a lot of fun. Now on to my second enclosure. This one was for peacocks, or peafowl, I should say, and I made it way bigger than it had to be, which resulted in these guys breeding like crazy, and they very quickly overpopulated the entire enclosure. So this was a mistake, and I probably should make it a lot smaller in the future, but I think it was really cool. One thing I did struggle with the whole building process in this game, in all 3 enclosures I managed to make, was foliage coverage. And it turns out I like to put way more trees than necessary in my enclosures. It doesn't really affect the animal too badly if there's too much coverage, but I can't help it. I just want my animals to be happy, so I always end up going back through and very carefully deleting a lot of plants. But yeah, I was really happy with this exhibit. I gave it a fun shape. I think I have an overview of my entire zoo, so you can see the shape in that. And there were some really cool little areas of it. So now on to my final and most ambitious exhibit. I thought I made the peacock exhibit too big. Well, this one I just had to make bigger. This one initially housed African wild dogs, but they kept jumping up on the rocks and getting stuck, so eventually they all died out despite my best efforts. So what I ended up doing is moving the buffalo into here, and then that freed up the old buffalo exhibit, and I was able to move in some tigers. So I think it worked out fairly well. The buffalo seemed very happy in there, and I got some really pretty shots of them. This exhibit had some really unique features that I'm very happy with, especially with the waterfalls and the ravine. The African wild dogs actually could walk across that log in the middle, but the buffalo, they weren't as daring. So we've got some unique vantage points in this exhibit. We also have a little cave for the buffalo to sleep in with a little window to the waterfall. It's really neat. And behind that is an unfinished building, my first building, actually. And it was just sort of a little keeper maintenance area. So that's my little slideshow of Planet Zoo. Now let's talk about how I want to approach Planet Zoo on my YouTube channel. Now, I definitely don't have the time to be producing YouTube videos 24/7. I've got university work to do, I've got a real job, and unfortunately, YouTube does not make me enough money to justify spending hours and hours every day on it, but I would still love to do it regardless. It's a lot of fun for me, and hopefully it's a lot of fun for you guys. So what I want to do with Planet Zoo is have a ongoing series on my channel. I know, that's a bold statement for me to make. And I'd also love to do speed builds. I've been thinking about doing a little mini-series with speed builds where I recreate some of Zoo Tycoon's buildings throughout the entire franchise. I never played the third game, the one that was out in 2013, but I'd like to tackle some of those designs too. Speaking of zoo designs, I recently made a subreddit, r/zoo designs, very creative, where people can share and post concept art and real-life photos of zoos around the world to get inspiration for games like Planet Zoo and Zoo Tycoon, stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, please go check it out. I find that stuff really interesting, even when I'm not building designs based off of that. Another note is that if you are really interested in some of the content I make and some of the games I play, and just some of the ideas, I guess, if you like paleontology, if you like zoology, if you like conservation, if you like building, if you like design, art, any of that sort of stuff, please come check out my Discord. There's a link in the description. I would really love to have you there. I love interacting with you guys as much as I can, and you guys are a really great inspiration to keep making content. I really need that fire under me to keep me going, and you can feel free to yell at me in there all you want. So that's going to be it for this short little video. Keep on the lookout for Planet Zoo content from me, and that's not to say I'll quit playing Zoo Tycoon 2. I love that game very, very much. I've been thinking about making some mod reviews and some sort of comprehensive essential mod lists for the game, because I still think it has its own unique charm, and I think it does some things that Planet Zoo doesn't do very well, and I think Planet Zoo does some things that Zoo Tycoon 2 doesn't do very well. As for games like Jurassic World Evolution, I might go back into that just to make maybe a sandbox park or something like that. I haven't visited the game in a long while, and there's been some pretty major updates to it. For Spore, that should be continuing. Those videos take a while to edit. I'm not going to do another fancy intro like that, but the game itself, I cut it up a lot and cut down things, so it's much faster paced. The Planet Zoo videos will be more laid back, like some of the Zoo Tycoon content I made, and I'd like to do some Minecraft. I talked about Minecraft in the last update video I did with Skenova's server, and that unfortunately is no longer a thing. I had some fun on that. I recorded a bit, but I never posted anything, and I think that's for the better, because that would have been a very boring series. I didn't achieve much despite my hard work, so that would have been another huge time sink. I would like to do a multiplayer Minecraft series though, so maybe I'll look into that. I don't know. I don't really have the money to host a server right now, so unless somebody else like Scan makes another server, I don't really know how that will be achieved. Anyway, thank you guys for watching this little update. I was also thinking about making some videos just about zoos in general, and maybe some more zoology educational type videos. I'd love to just talk about some of the things I'm passionate about outside of video games, and I think that could be very interesting and maybe a little less work for me because I don't have to spend hours and hours building something just to edit it down for more hours into a short video. Anyway, thank you guys for watching. I'll see you next time. I've been Nettai. Bye-bye.